enough, so we had to start from scratch and develop a whole new landscape system that didn't look as good as his, but didn't have some of the problems his had, and work from there. So it wasn't exactly what I envisioned when I started out writing it, by a fairly long way, which was unfortunate. As people who listened to Charles earlier, you get this pressure from publishers. Once you've taken their coins, they're on top of you and they want product out at an appropriate moment. That's not the way I'd been used to working in the past. The game was finished when it was finished, and not before. And many of my games came out at Easter because I consistently missed Christmas. Wasn't a bad thing because nobody else was releasing games at Easter, so I did pretty well out of it. Magazines had nothing else to cover. I'd be on every cover. But yeah, when you've got a big publisher who's giving you a pile of money to employ loads of people, you've got lots of pressure to put something out there, and sometimes it's not as good as you'd like it to be. There's also, to be honest, Cranberry got much too good a deal from their publishers. It was ludicrous to go from nothing to producing 3 games simultaneously with no employees. And suddenly we had to hire loads and loads of people. And people who are good tend to be employed somewhere, and it generally happen. So the people we had to hire tends to be not very experienced, and that makes things very hard to put games together. Sometimes we were really lucky. We got some really fantastic people by chance who weren't in the industry. One guy just walked through my front door at the office and just said, I'd like to show you some stuff. And, okay, show me it. I haven't got it here. It's too big for me to bring. It's on my hard drive. Okay, jump in the car, I'll go to your house. And he's just absolutely stupendous artist. I was really lucky. And likewise, I was online talking in a programming forum, and there was some minor discussion going on. I was on one side and other people were on the other, and somebody joined in on my side and seemed to know what he was talking about, and so I asked him where he was. He worked like 300 yards from the house. There's people all over the world and this guy's 300 yards away. So we met up for a beer. And he turned out to program the Acorn version of Wolfenstein. He'd done it that's the only work he'd done in the games industry. And he is like the best programmer I've ever met. And whenever I'm not sure about my maths or anything, I'm straight online to Eddie. It's like, how do I do this, Eddie? And he's rather good at it.
And so, looking back at that era, where you obviously must be disappointed with how it turned out in terms of the games, but did you learn a lot from it?
I learned I wasn't hugely successful at running a company. I think if I were to do it again, I'd be a bit more horrid. I think it was too easy to be friends with everybody, and not to be hard enough, and not to tell them what they really had to do, because otherwise they should have been out the door. Really, because some people respond well to being friendly and supportive, and some people take the piss. And that's life when you've got a lot of people. At one point we had 28 employees, and that's quite a lot from somebody who a year earlier had never run a company in any shape or form and had only worked with 2 people at a time. So it was a bit too steep a learning curve, really.
Would you ever go back to the Spectrum and program something new for it?
No. It's a lot of work.
And what are you working on at the moment? What format are you working on?
I'm working on a game for the iPhone. It's quite retro in style. I'll let you know when it comes out. No.
Okay, then we'll go open up to questions from the floor. Anyone got any questions?
Stunned silence. What game are you working on the iPhone?
I'm not entirely sure what the name will be. It's probably Deviation, but I haven't done thorough enough checks to find out if there is another game ever called that. But it's very simple. You could play. It's a multi-level, dip in, play a level, play 2 levels, put it down, come back later. You could play a level in seconds. Some levels only last 5 seconds, but it's a bit adrenaline. It gets faster and faster. You need to keep up. You need to think at the same time. Some people will like it. Some people won't.
What do you do in it?
You turn. All you do is you turn things around. Little deflectors, and you have a rolling ball, and you change its direction with these deflectors, and literally that's all you do. You just turn these deflectors, and obviously you've got to choose. The ball has to go certain places, and that can be quite complex in itself. But it is that simple, not complex.
Where's the Jew, John?
Sorry.
When's the Jew? When's the Jew out?
When I finish it.
All right.
I've got a huge amount of respect for Rare. Huge amount. I've worked with Chris and Tim Stamper for a while, and I can remember talking to them probably not that long before they sold out to Microsoft, and just saying, how many of your games are on time? And Tim's answer was straightforward: none of them. Because their attitude was the same as mine. The game is finished when you're happy with it. And they had enough power with Nintendo that Nintendo would let them get away with that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've been chatting to a lot of the guys out on Rare now, and that doesn't happen anymore.
I bet.
So they're very frustrated with the way things are going, because it is literally, well, no, it's out in October. Yeah, but it's out in October. So it's quite interesting.
I bet some of the old people are really peeved about that.
Yeah, they're not, because obviously you've got the guys like Chris Sutherland out there, and they could say it's like a totally different working atmosphere compared to what it was like when obviously we were, because they said even though we were owned by Nintendo, we were pretty much allowed to do our own thing.
It's interesting, a lot of the games they were doing for the American market were sort of almost straightforward, and they could do, get it done to a limit, and that obviously then gave them the time and freedom to do the other projects they wanted to do.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
And then I think it changed for them when the original Xbox came out, because they had to then shift to, you have to have the game ready for that deadline, and that's I think that was when the whole ethos changed at Rare. So things like Grab by the Ghoulies, that with a couple more months could have been a lot better. I think for them, then lost the shine and the polish that always used to be in a Rare product.
Yeah. I mean, they Chris and Tim and many of the others that were there from the early days were very dedicated. They loved their games, and they wanted to put out something that was perfect, as near as they could.
Any more questions?
Do you have any interesting stories to tell about Monster Max on the game? Because I find it's rather underrated. I mean, people don't always talk about it. I just feel like it. I'm curious to know if it's going to be interesting.
It was bizarre when it came out, because we really did get some great reviews, and I think 96% in some, and they were in January. I think it went on sale in November. And you're just like, that was handy then, and it really blew it. So no idea. The game was completely finished when it went out for review. It's just unfortunate. It was fun making it, and it was quite nice. I can remember handing in copies into Rare as it was approaching completion for testing, and just a very nice comment from their chief tester was, look, I'm sorry it's so late today. I know you have to get it off tomorrow. I guess you have to work through the night. So I'm not worried. It doesn't have bugs in it. Never does have. It always astonished me. I mean, I discussed it with him then. He said they get games in there that have got 100 bugs in, and I just couldn't understand that. If I saw a bug, I found it. As soon as I saw it, I wouldn't do anything else until it was out. And Therefore, there was never any more than one bug at a time.